All right, John, let's talk for the first time this season to the head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni. As I mentioned earlier, will be a weekly guest on our show. I would think typically on Tuesdays, as he was last year Tuesdays, often in the 8 o'clock hour, but with the Eagles with a different week this week, coming from the Friday game in Brazil into a Monday game, obviously home for their, I guess we can call this true home opener. I guess we can call Monday the true home opener. Monday night versus Minnesota. Let's talk to the Eagles head coach, Nick Sirianni. He's brought to us by Bud Light. Join Ava Graham at Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia this Friday for a Bud Light Eagles pep rally. Win tickets to the Eagles home opener and sign merchandise as well. He is the head coach of the 1-0 Birds, Nick Sirianni. Good morning, Nick.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hello. And by the way, correction right out of the gate. Seltzer tells me you're playing Atlanta, and that would be my mistake.
You got the Kirk Cousins team wrong.
I did. I can guarantee you the Kirk Cousins thing is what it was. Nick, hello. Thanks for joining us. And by the way, congrats on the victory. I know it must have felt fantastic to start the season off with a win there.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, it was a good start to the season. Got a lot of things to clean up, but to go on the road. Well, I guess it was a home game, but to go on the road and get a win, that's always a good thing, especially to start the season.
Nick, I was watching you coach that game the other day, and one of the thoughts that went through my mind is it's got to be great. I mean, it's the first time you've coached a game in the NFL with Saquon on your team. What is it like for those 3 hours knowing you've got a player of that caliber on your squad?
Yeah, he's a big time player, and we've been seeing it through camp. We've seen it obviously on the opposite sideline as well. But to have him on our team and to have that type of guy on our team, the type of player, the type of teammate, knowing he can change the game anytime he touches the ball, which he did, was obviously was huge for us and was huge for us in that game. So he played a great game and. Both running the ball and catching the ball, and he's a great leader, great teammate, and so love having him on our football team. Look forward to the type of year he can have as an Eagle.
It was so awesome to see the 26 touches. How do you balance Saquon's usage for health purposes, Nick? 26 touches, is that sustainable?
Yeah, I think what you do, like you go into every single game, like what do we have to do to win this game? And you have a plan going into the game, and then things change in the game. You got to adjust, and we're going to do what we need to do to win every single game. If that means Saquon touches the ball 50 times, Saquon touches the ball 50 times. If it means he's got to touch it 10, you got to touch it 10. But you kind of manage him. You end up managing him through the week of practice, right? Because there's more knowns. You can manage it during practice. When you get in the game, again, every game's so crucial. Every game's so critical.
Sure.
Like we play 17 games. We got to do what we got to do to win that game. And the situation of the game. I mean, we're on why do carries get that high sometimes? Where it's 26 or 24 carries, I believe he had because he had two catches. It happens because you're in 4-minute football, right? So we're at the end of the game with 7 minutes. Like, love the fact that you can finish the ball, almost finish the game and take as much time off the clock as we did in our 4-minute drill. And so Saquon got a lot of carries there in that time too, right? And we threw the ball a couple times in that one, and it was really good plays by Jalen and Devontae that helped us run that clock down to give them the ball back with 24 seconds. But when you have leads in games, sometimes those carries go up even more than you were anticipating, especially when you get to these 4-minute drills. So every game's a little different, but every game is so critical in the NFL, and we'll do everything we can do to win each game, and then we'll have a plan for how we rest them throughout the week.
Sure, it's managing the body is important. And when I played, it reminds me when Donovan McNabb was constantly reminded to protect himself by Andy Reid and his staff. Are you and your offensive staff reminding Jalen to get down early to protect himself too?
Yeah, always. His health is so important, and he's got to make sure that when he can step out of bounds, he steps out of bounds, which he had a couple of those. But then Jalen's such a powerful runner. He had a huge conversion in the 4-minute off of a pass that turned into a scramble where he lowers his shoulder and gets 3 extra or 4 extra yards. That was a powerful run too. And so Jalen's got a good feel for when to go down and when to fight for some extra yards. We're always advising him to make sure he protects himself. But also we're trying, scrambles, it's on him. Like planned runs, that's on us for us to make sure that we're doing the right schemes that we don't put him in danger. Now, every run's a little bit different, but that's in the forefront of our mind every time we put a quarterback run in or a quarterback read play in, is how are we protecting Jalen on this play?
Sure. We as fans were just trying to figure out why Jalen looked like so quick and sprightly during camp, but on Friday, I'm told I'm making excuses for Jalen, saying that the field was, not where it needed to be for him to look as quick as he did during camp. Is there something to that, Coach?
Yeah, I thought he looked quick. I thought he looked fast. I thought he made some plays with his feet when he needed to make plays. You got to remember this too, like. That team, as you could see for that team, like when it did turn into a scramble, they had a guy that was responsible, for Jalen, when he would scramble, right? So they weren't rushing. They would have a game on, and up front, and one of the guys was responsible for the edge. You could kind of see that with the contain, and then how they would chase, and so. They're putting themselves in position to do that. And I think that's always key to remember, that there people, and that really helps our offensive line when they're so concerned about Jalen rushing or running the ball and becoming a runner after a pass play, the second play. That's a big deal. And they're taught, like those D linemen, that was a good D line we played too. Those D linemen are told, do not let this guy out of the pot. You make sure you set this thing wide. Make sure we group rush to make sure we don't let him out of the pocket. So I don't think it's a thing that has anything to do with Jalen's athletic. Jalen didn't get slower from camp to the game. It's more about the rush and how they try to contain him, and so that kind of looked that way. I think that can present itself that way sometimes.
That's really good to hear.
Nick Sirianni here with us on WIP, as he will be on a weekly basis, typically on Tuesdays. Nick, let's talk a little bit more about Jalen this time in the passing game. So obviously some really good stuff Friday and some stuff that wasn't. What is the challenge for you as a coach and the coaching staff of how to smooth out the rough edges of him in the passing game? I mean, for me, in my standpoint watching Friday, it was primarily a decision-making standpoint. It's not how he throws the ball, but it's when and where he throws the ball. How do you, as a coach, kind of smooth out those rough edges?
I think we have a lot of rough edges to smooth out, from the entire game, and that's what. And you're trying to grow each week to get better each week, and so that's going to start. Yesterday the players had a lift. We didn't, with this being a long week, playing Monday night. We get them today, so we'll be able to watch the tape with them today. And so that's going to start in the film room of, first with our team meeting and kind of talking about the mistakes that we made, the good plays that we made too. You don't go in there and talk about the mistakes that we make. You talk about the good ones too. But you're really, everyone needs to be self-critical of themselves, including myself, and because that's the only way you can get better. And so I'll start in the film room about some of the detailed mistakes that we made. Right, we didn't tackle well enough in this football game. Different factors that go into that, but it comes down to us and our fundamentals. And it doesn't matter if it's whoever it is that's playing football. If it's St. Joe's Prep, if it's Temple, if it's the Philadelphia Eagles, if you don't tackle well enough, you're not going to win a lot of football games. So we got to tackle better. And then we got to take care of the ball better, right? Because that's the biggest stat that goes week in, week out is how did you take care of the football? And so we didn't do a good enough job there either. And so it's us putting them in the right positions to succeed, and it's them being able to, and the players being able to execute. But those are the main things that we gotta fix with taking care of the football. But Jalen made some unbelievable plays in that game that without those plays, and did he make some mistakes? Yeah, but we all made mistakes in that football game. But without some of the plays that he made, particularly down the stretch of that 4-minute drive to with some of those passes to Vontae, he put us in position to win that game that we did.
Nick, you said something after the game I found fascinating, and I was glad you said it. So you said after the game you want the team to enjoy the win. Now, on the surface, it's like, well, of course, obviously. But it seemed to me like you were making a point, perhaps in reference to last year, to, let's not get bogged down in trying to be, we want to be perfect, right? But there's only so perfect you can be. I mean, it's not an achievable goal to be perfect. And enjoy the accomplishment of winning a game. Was that a particular point of emphasis for you with this team this year, prior to week one, after week one, to say, hey, let's remember a win is a win and enjoy it?
Yeah, I think that's something that, through some of my talks with other coaches, our talks as a leadership council within the team, we want to make sure we're enjoying the journey, right? And you can get so bogged down with your expectations and this and that, and you can't live out your expectations for the entire year in one day, right? It's a day by day, your habits every single day. You can only win one game at a time, and you can only lose one game, and you can only lose one game at a time. And so it is about enjoying the journey, and a connection of a team is what makes you want to be a part of this team, right? And obviously we have great jobs being football coaches and football players, but one of the things that makes it the best is that connection and the team. Like that's the best thing about being a football coach is that I'm still on a team, and you gotta enjoy moments. It's so hard to win in this league. Particularly, there's a lot of circumstances that went into this last game, with the travel, with all the different things that went on. It's so hard to win. You got to enjoy it. You got to make sure that, we got things to clean up, but, we got to enjoy this, when we win. And I think that, that's so important. And, that's something that we're focused on. And again, that doesn't mean we're not upset by mistakes that we made, that we're not working like crazy to fix those mistakes. It is just, though, that can we be, in the moment and be so excited that we beat a good football team, in Brazil to open up the season. Like there's 16 teams today that are 0-1, and there's 16 teams today that are 1-0, and we're 1-0, and we're going to enjoy that. We're going to celebrate that, and then we're going to get back to work and make sure we fix the things that we need to fix, to make sure we can go 2-0.
Nick, is Devin White on board to be a backup linebacker on this team?
Yeah, Devin's had a good camp. Obviously he tweaked his ankle the other day, and he's had a good camp and been a great teammate from day one. And works his butt off, and so I'm excited that Devin's on this roster.
And Nick, let's talk about Brandon Graham. He's going to join us in just a moment here. I don't know if you know. Tell me if you do. Do you know that by playing in Friday's game, he set a franchise record, the first player in the history of the organization to get to year 15? He passed Chuck Bednarik, who had gotten to 14. Did you know that?
No, I did not. That's awesome.
It's an incredible accomplishment.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. And he played a really good game. He has so much energy. He brings so much energy to this building, to this team, so much positive energy, and that's we need that. We need that pod. There's so much negative energy in just the world right now, and we need everybody. I would say this, everybody in their business, everybody in their place of work needs a Brandon Graham. Somebody that comes to work every day that's so excited to be there, that's so excited to be a good teammate, that's so excited to be a good defensive end. And, so I love having him on this team. And year 15, passing, Chuck Bednarik for, most seasons. I love that. And by the way, he was knocking the hell out of people in that game. One thing that I thought he did so well in this game, he showed, you want to be physically tough every single game you play. You want to be this is still a game that the toughest team has the best chance to win, right? And so you preach that, you talk about it all the time, and he was so physically tough in this game. A tight end tried to block him. Anytime a tight end put his hands on him, he'd knocking him 4 yards back in the backfield. Anytime the a tackle was trying to reach him or get him kicked out, he collapsed the hole. He is a physical dude, great teammate, shoot, I hope you guys at WIP have somebody that brings the energy of your group up like Brandon Graham does for us.
That's called James Seltzer. That's
right,
called
James.
Seltzer.
All right, there you go, James.
Actually, you know who it is? It's Ava Graham. That's who it is. All right,
okay.
Nick, congratulations on the victory. Good luck, obviously, on Monday night versus Atlanta, and we're very, very happy to have you as a part of the show again this year. Good luck on Monday. Thank you, Nick.
All right, thanks, guys.
You got
Coach.
it. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni.